These are some of the best characters to only appear in one episode of Family Guy. Starting with Hammer from the episode HTT Peter, a textbook millennial who turns Peter into a hipster. So Pawtucket Brewery is currently in a bit of a crisis.
Sales are down across the board, but mostly we're failing to connect with a group called millennials.
I think I heard of those before. Strange creatures. They wore chains like anyone was trying to take the $6.50 that were in their Velcro wallets. Luckily, there's an instructional video to fill us in.
Millennials crave things like instant gratification, authentic experiences.
But to think like a millennial, you're gonna need a millennial, and the brewery has found just the person for the job.
So please welcome someone who's going to help us reach millennials, our new head of social media, Hammer.
Oh, I understand the name. It's because he's a major tool.
Actually, bruh, asking me what a trigger warning is one of my triggers, bruh. I feel traumatized, bruh, and now I'm tweeting about you, bruh.
I can't totally understand millennial talk, but I think he just killed that guy. Even though it all sounds like nonsense, Hammer does kind of know what he's talking about.
And posted. Do you know what I just did? I just made you all viral.
Hopefully the good kind of viral, not the infectious disease kind of viral. Although Peter doesn't fully understand him at first, all it takes is a hit of his pen to completely transform him into the worst person you know.
What happened? All of a sudden I feel like I know better than everyone else.
So that's why those things are being banned. They're way too powerful if they can birth a millennial with a single puff. So Hammer takes Peter under his wing and shows him everything there is to know about millennial culture.
I want you on fleek. This is fleek.
Oh, can I ride him?
Man, millennials get to fly on dragons? Okay, maybe listening to all that stomp clap music has its perks. You know the kind. The kind where they shout hey in every song. But despite becoming fully enveloped in the millennial lifestyle, Peter soon loses his mentor. I think he got hit by a bus, but Peter's gonna have to text him about it first. So with only a few moments left, Hammer gives Peter his last will and testament.
If I die, chop my body up and serve me as street tacos.
Such a selfless sacrifice. We can't be letting science get all the good dead bodies. And with that, our good pal Hammer is laid to rest.
I've never been to a millennial funeral.
Yeah, it seems in poor taste that they hired Keyboard Cat.
We didn't know him long, but Hammer proved to be a tone-deaf caricature of millennials who was overblown and silly, but may just have a little bit of truth to him. At least he lived and died being a tool just like his name suggests. But Meg and Lois would fall for a master of tools, Jamie the handsome handyman in Girlfriend A. So after a big old hole is put in Stewie's room, the family needs to hire someone who actually knows what they're doing.
How is a stud finder gonna help with this?
Beep, beep, beep.
Sure, it's all fun and games until a squatter takes up residence in that hole. A hole in a baby's room is prime real estate for those guys.
Enough, Peter. I'm calling a handyman.
But I don't think Lois was expecting a handyman with a capital man.
Who is it?
Probably just the handyman here to fix up bocce balls.
Meet Jamie, a man perfectly crafted through a mix of dark magic and binge-watching HGTV. And his prime objective is fulfilling women's fantasies about having a good-looking guy bent over around their house.
I heard you had a hole that needed to be filled.
And those are the kind of double entendres that seriously put this video's monetization in jeopardy.
So you just fill the hole with your cock?
Yes, it's very thick.
And that's spelled C-A-U-L-K, YouTube. Don't come sicking your censorship robots on me. Besides, look how happy he's made Lois.
We have liftoff on Operation Thirsty Housewife.
Looks like he's gonna need to stick around and fix the ceiling now too. So Jamie is drawing all the stares from Lois, Meg, and of course, Stewie.
Well, it's still a bit moist, but should dry up soon.
Don't count on it.
Of course, the gals would love to keep him around, but it looks like he's fixed all he can in this house.
Why don't you call me when you have a few things for me to...
Oh, buddy, this house needs a lot more than plaster and paint to fix what's wrong with it. I'm sure you'll find that out soon. So Lois gets all spruced up because when the handyman's coming over, you gotta dress your best.
This short skirt is making my legs look long and sexy.
Long legs, huh?
Luckily, Meg didn't take that as a cue to dress like Nick Cage in the horror movie Long Legs. Because nothing is hotter than good old Uncle Sam. When's he getting his Sexiest Man Alive cover?
This is Mama's show, Meg.
What are you talking about? You've got Dad. Jamie's mine.
But Peter's on a trip, so what's a little infidelity as a treat?
All I need is one hug with a lower back brush and a sniff of the neck, and I'm good for 6 years.
So it looks like we've got a mom versus daughter battle here, and they aren't pulling any punches to make the other look bad.
I'm doing a school report. Who was president when you were born?
Huh, Dwight D.I. Oh, you.
Old mom or hairy daughter? Your move, Jamie.
Hi, I'm with Kasabian Sheep Shearing. I'm here to shave Meg's back.
But their sabotaging goes too far, with some shocking results for Jamie. Damn, look at him go. He truly is a man of exceptional talents.
I'm okay!
Oh, thank God.
And that is just the natural law of the universe. If you shout "I'm okay" after being hurt, you're begging the universe to make you regret those words. So sure, a man lost his life because of Lois and Meg's thirstiness, but it's not all terrible because Jamie has a twin brother.
Are you also a handyman?
No, I'm an inner thigh masseuse, specializing in moms in their 40s.
Stop, you had her when you decided to breathe in her general direction.
You must need a hug.
While Jamie didn't have much personality to speak of, his sheer presence drove Lois and Meg into a mad frenzy of one-upmanship, and there's certainly some value in that. I mean, did you see that guy? Totally get it. And paramedic Styker Foxx would have the same effect on Peter in the episode Fox in the Men House, as Peter would ditch his old friends to hang out with this much cooler guy. So Peter's introduced to the wonderful world of the women's washroom.
There's candles, hand lotion. Whoa, there's not even any swastikas carved into the toilet seat.
I get carving stuff on the walls, but the toilet seat? Are they doing that while sitting on the toilet or standing up? Either way, each position sounds genuinely insane.
From now on, I'm only using women's restrooms.
What? You can't do that. You're a man. You'll get in trouble.
Lois, the location doesn't matter. Peter can get in trouble anywhere. At least if it's in the women's room, there's stuff to clean up with. Peter even starts to bring Stewie around to up his experience in the ladies' room.
Okay, Stewie, you're gonna help Daddy by holding his iPad while he watches Season 1 of House of Cards.
Father-son bonding time truly is a special thing. So is sitting on the toilet for 11 hours, but not in a good, special way.
Stewie, Daddy can't feel his legs. Go get help.
I'm hanging from a door, you idiot!
Well, looks like Peter may die here. Unmentionables out and pants around his ankles. Truthfully, this is probably the way he was bound to go out anyway.
There he is. Welcome back, buddy.
Who are you?
I'm a paramedic, named Styker Foxx.
And that's Fox with 2 X's, so you just know this guy's the coolest of the cool. And it looks like they were meant to be best friends.
Oh my God. Cody?
Oh, that must be the name of the dead surfer I found this on.
So Peter decides to change his whole lifestyle now that he's friends with the coolest man in the world.
I'm not hanging out with the guys. I met someone new.
He's talking like he's getting ready for his first date, but after looking at Styker, he's probably at least thinking about it.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, man. Hola, cha-cha, hi-hi.
But this new development means there's little room for his old friends.
It's the guys. What do those losers want?
Losers? Those are your friends.
Sorry, but do you see the wicked shirt Peter's wearing? The guys just don't have the same riz? Fleek? Swag? Which one makes me sound less like a tool? But of course, the guys catch him out with Styker after he lied and said he was too busy to hang out.
This right here is exactly why I've been avoiding you. I knew you'd embarrass me in front of Styker.
If there's one thing Peter doesn't want, it's to look uncool in front of him. That's why he's got the shirt, the jeans, and that fake gold necklace that's gonna turn his neck green.
If you're so embarrassed by us and you think we're losers, well, then we don't want to hang out with you either.
They're lost because now Peter and Styker are about to do the coolest thing friends can do together. Wingsuiting.
I never thought I could be talked into wingsuiting.
You're gonna love it. It's just a short hike from here to the summit.
You gotta hike too? Oh, that's just the price of being cool. It's either that or selling your soul to the devil, the guy from those Dos Equis commercials.
I can see you're a little nervous, Peter, but I'm telling you, it is easier than you think. Watch.
Somehow he makes defying gravity, an already cool thing, even more cool. That's the mark of a true legend.
Wow, look at him go! You know, just when I thought he couldn't get any cooler, he goes, holy!
And that's the mark of a legend who just splattered on the side of a mountain. And there goes the realest man who's ever lived. But just how real was he?
You were in a coma for 2 weeks.
You must have dreamed about this, Styker, or something.
Ah, the whole it was all a dream plot. Just as lame as it was decades ago. But still, Styker served as inspiration to make Peter appreciate the friends that he has. Maybe the real Styker Foxx is the friends we make along the way. But things would have to be faked when Joe went up against his pumpkin-growing rival Patrick McCloskey in Peter Pumpkin Cheater. So Joe's been growing a pretty big pumpkin for Halloween thanks to the Theater of the Mind.
I wished for it. I knew you guys would laugh.
Well, yeah, you said you wished for a big pumpkin. No world peace or end to hunger or, heck, 2 new legs. Big whiff of a wish you did there, Joe.
Every year I enter Quahog's Great Pumpkin Halloween Contest and get creamed by that dang Patrick McCloskey.
Oh yeah, that guy we've definitely heard of before. Next time, please have a slideshow or YouTube video prepared to give us a rundown on this new character.
Wait, weren't there weird rumors about him and Bonnie?
No, it's just the pumpkin thing.
I'm sure some type of pump was involved, but I'm not trying to hear about all that. But because it's pumpkin season, pumpkins are all Joe wants to talk about.
What were we talking about? Pumpkins?
Shut up about the pumpkin!
Nice restraint there, Cleveland. If you wanted to stab him in the throat, I don't think anyone would have stood in your way.
Hey, what if we hid Joe's pumpkin before it gets picked up for the fair tomorrow morning?
I'm way in.
Great idea, Peter.
But they probably should have discussed where they were going to hide it before picking it up.
Am I the only one who can make plans? I have decision fatigue. Uh-oh.
Well, it's just Joe's pride and joy that he loves more than his own 2 kids. I'm sure he'll be chill about it.
Let's remember it's just a pumpkin. No, we can put it back together.
Whew, good call. I already saw the insides of one gourd. I don't need to see another.
We can just shovel the rest of the goop back in and prop it up.
We can't just scoop 307 pounds of pumpkin guts in there.
Well, it just so happens that Peter weighs 307 pounds, making him the perfect pumpkin weight. Finally, all that not working out is paid off.
I think I could slide in through the hole in the bottom. Then I could just sit in there for a few hours and maybe you can still win the contest.
And at the event, we're finally introduced to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Patrick McCloskey.
Look who it is, 2nd place Swanson.
That nickname doesn't make sense because one year I was 6th place.
You sure showed him, Joe. No wonder Bonnie begrudgingly chose you.
Let me get a closer look at your pumpkin. Could barely see it from over there.
Ha! Classic McCloskey.
I've yet to see McCloskey grow a talking pumpkin. Joe 1, McCloskey 0. But now it's time to find out who's got the biggest gourd in town. Don't look at me like that. You know I was talking about the pumpkins.
Joe Swanson!
But the competition isn't over just yet, as there's one more competition to compete in.
What are they doing?
All the Pumpkin County winners are entered in the state Halloween contest in Providence.
Well, hope you haven't gotten sick of the smell of pumpkin, Peter. Looks like you're gonna be in there a while.
It's gonna take us hours with all these pumpkins. Peter!
Yeah?
Oh, wow.
But McCloskey is there to catch them orange-handed.
Something is off with this pumpkin.
Don't hate me because you hate me.
Man, Joe cannot refrain from dunking on McCloskey. Clearly Bonnie made the most non-regrettable choice.
I have to go to the bathroom more than the pail in here.
A pumpkin that can birth a 40-something-year-old man? Give Joe all of the awards. But the jig is up, and as it turns out, Joe's plan isn't exactly unique.
No real pumpkin is ever over 20 pounds.
But yours always are.
My fat son sits in mine every year.
And so, with his entire identity exposed, McCloskey rides off into the sunset. No doubt on his way to make his next personality all about cucumbers or some other vegetable.
I gotta put some thought to this, but I think I may be in love with that guy.
Not hard to see why. McCloskey definitely has a bit of charm to him, helped by the great voice performance from Glenn Powell. Your confusing love is certainly valid, Joe. But Heather, a makeshift human love doll made by Chris, would teach Lois and Peter the meaning of love in Encyclopedia Griffin. So Peter and the guys decide to start their own detective agency to help solve petty mysteries around town.
Just this morning, we've had multiple reports of stolen items.
Joe seems pretty cut out for this, almost like he should be a cop or something. But Quagmire has a lead on the stolen items, with the crime being captured on a Fling's nanny cam. Just gotta skip through the gross stuff.
Fast forward ahead. Forward. Forward. Keep forwarding.
Is that woman gonna be okay?
Yeah, she's fine. We're having brunch after this.
Might be worth investigating Quagmire after all this. You know, do some actual good for the community.
And there we go. Our thief.
Well, well, well. Look who's inherited their mother's kleptomania. Now they've got the who, they just need the why. Maybe the what, if they've got a little extra time. So they decide to look around Chris's room for answers.
See? There's nothing here. Just a weird life-size lady doll made out of all the stuff that got stolen.
Okay, so they found the what, and it's one big, fat, all capitals what?
No! Don't hurt Heather! Don't hurt my girlfriend!
What the hell?
Well, I guess this is better than finding a real girl tied up in there. But when you look at the rest of the family, it's not hard to see how Chris got to this point.
Maybe it's our fault Chris has such a screwed up idea about what a relationship is.
That's fair. Sometimes it seems apparent they're together for tax breaks and nothing more.
Your mother wanted me to talk to you. She doesn't think it's healthy for you to be spending all your time with a homemade sex doll.
Hey, that homemade doll has a name. And as it turns out, Chris actually hasn't figured out how to use her for the reasons you may think.
Heather hasn't even let me get to second base.
Now that's an upstanding lady. Peter couldn't ask for a better girl to date his son. Okay, well maybe one that actually breathes wouldn't hurt. But later that night, Chris and Heather take their relationship to the next level.
I just really like spending time with you. Wow.
Am I supposed to feel happy or disgusted for him? Maybe a little bit of both.
I think Heather will be eating breakfast standing up this morning, if you know what I mean.
I do not, and if you even so much as try to explain it, I'll burn down your house. But now Lois is mad that Peter didn't talk him out of it.
You never listen to anything I say.
Look, you told me to talk to him, I talked to him, and now you're nagging me about it?
But that's nothing a lovely bouquet of flowers can't fix.
You're such a sweetheart.
Read the card.
To Heather from Chris.
Peter must have been thinking he ordered those while he was drunk or something. He should know that nothing that smells good comes from his drinking.
Oh my God. Chris treats that pile of junk better than Peter treats me.
Yeah, but if you keep calling his girlfriend junk out in the open, Chris is going to want to start throwing hands. So Lois plans to try to get Peter to see the truth.
Chris, when you go on your picnic tomorrow, can your father and I come with you?
But if I were Lois, I'd just keep Peter away from anything romantic. It'd be like putting a Big Mac up next to a fancier burger. The Big Mac looks good until you have something to compare it to.
Peter, don't you see what's going on here? Your son's relationship with that doll is better than our own marriage.
And if Lois has to be miserable, so does everyone else.
Ah! Heather's gone! Mom, Heather's disappeared. Have you seen her?
Nope, and those 2 heads of lettuce in the fridge are unrelated. Lois is just really getting into salads now.
I miss her so much.
I know, honey, but if you give it a little time, I'm sure you'll get over her.
Well, he does and he doesn't. There are just some disillusioned relationships you just can't move on from. And even though it's unhealthy, Lois realizes she needs to fix things by digging up a shallow grave in the woods.
Heather! Oh my God!
I'm sorry, Chris.
I remember when I dug up my first dead body with my mom.
I just want you to know if you ever treat a real woman the way you treat that doll, you're gonna make her very happy.
So Chris had the makings of a good boyfriend all along, and now he has the confidence to give a real girl a chance. Aw, this mother and son duo deserve a treat.
Give me that knife, I gotta cut out the baby.
Oh my God!
It's made of Skittles.
Can't let a perfectly good baby go to waste, right? So even though Heather doesn't utter a single word, her inclusion is still memorable due to the fact that it shows that even a Frankenstein doll can live a better life than Lois. Didn't think Peter would have such a hard time competing with a pile of junk. But it would be Lois who had to compete for Peter's love when his psycho ex-girlfriend Gretchen comes back into the picture and take a letter. So while visiting the post office, Lois comes to find that Cleveland has landed a job there.
What can Brown do for you? That's our competitor, though. I'm not supposed to say that.
I won't tell on you, Cleveland. As long as you keep those free stamps rolling, then we're all good.
I'm actually doing some job hunting after this.
You know, Lois, the post office is hiring.
Well, there you go. Lois has found a new job, and she's got a reason to beat up Seamus. That peg leg is yelling a lot for someone who could be destroyed with a single bucket of water. So Lois starts working there and is introduced to the dead letter bin, where incorrectly addressed letters go to rot.
What the hell? This is from Peter.
Ooh, just think of all the possibilities. It could be a love letter, a ransom note, or a glitter bomb. The sky's the limit with Peter.
And this is postmarked a week before our wedding.
So now Lois has a choice. Illegally open the letter or deliver it to its intended recipient.
You could always just ask Peter about it.
Aw, it's cute that you think Lois and Peter have a healthy enough relationship where they can have those kinds of conversations, Bonnie. But Lois decides to swing by Gretchen's address and deliver the letter herself.
Peter Griffin? Wow, this is from an old boyfriend.
What?
Oh yeah, this letter is potentially getting spicier and spicier with every passing minute. But Gretchen decides to do her a solid and tell her what was in the letter.
Oh, it was nothing. He was just writing to say that he was excited about getting married.
Yeah, because when you're about to marry the love of your life, you gotta make sure you rub it in the faces of all your exes. But lo and behold, guess who shows up later at the Griffin's door?
I finally got your letter. You know, the one where you said that you were having doubts about marrying Lois.
Oh, that little snake. No wonder these two dated. They're both backstabbers.
Well, my answer is yes, Peter. Yes, I will marry you.
Nice try, Gretchen, but Peter's already happily... He's devoted... He's married, okay?
Then I suppose your wife is entitled to know that you were still in love with me just days before your wedding.
So does Peter take the marriage of lies or the marriage of blackmail? I'd take option C, skip town and do some soul searching in the desert.
I may have had some doubts before my wedding, but what guy doesn't? And now I know I made the right choice marrying Lois.
Whether or not Lois made the right choice is still up for debate. But Gretchen does seem to come to her senses and says she'll back off.
What do you say we have one last hurrah? I've got 2 tickets to a Ray LaMontagne concert tonight.
Yeah, nothing wrong with listening to a few love songs with your obsessive ex.
I should probably say no, but I've never been known for my good judgment.
Believe me, finding out about that letter was more than enough proof of that. So Peter goes to the concert, but ends up feeling too guilty and decides to leave. He's gonna miss You Are the Best Thing, but it's probably for the best. Probably. Maybe.
That's my Peter. That's my Peter.
But Peter gets a text from Gretchen later, so he has resident psychopath Meg decipher what it means.
Oh, this woman is clearly a spurned lover who's planning to kill Mom.
Ah, thank you.
Always handy to have a mad woman whisperer like Meg around. So Peter rushes to the post office, only to find Gretchen there ready to kill Lois.
What's going on?
She's nuts is what's going on. I don't want to be with her.
Oh yeah? That's not what you wrote.
So now it's all out in the open. Honestly, no one would blame you for walking away from all this, Lois.
You can have him.
What?
I'll never forgive you for this, Peter. We're through.
Oh, I actually wasn't expecting her to do it. Well, psychos deserve psychos, I guess.
Hey, Gretchen. Get away from my husband.
Very nice fake out. I guess Lois can forgive some doubts right before the wedding. God knows she probably had them herself.
But there's no doubt anymore. You're the only man for me, Peter Griffin.
So Gretchen proved to be a fun villain, being extremely psychotic, not only because of what she did, but because this was all for Peter. Check your standards, girl. But I guess Peter just attracts trouble because he catches the attention of a rude and gross mobster named Big Fat Paulie in the episode There's Something About Paulie. So the Griffins need a second car so that Lois doesn't have to run errands and taxis all day.
I saw an ad for a used car that would be perfect.
But never fear, you're married to a master haggler, Lois. Peter will find you the best car at the best price.
Peter, this car has dents in it, and it's got a cardboard steering wheel.
You know how hard it is to find a car with a cardboard steering wheel? That car is one of a kind, which means Peter's gotta have it.
Okay, let's see what this baby can do, huh?
On the bright side, it'll make a great piece of junk that sits in their front yard for years. But now that Lois is using their only car, Peter gets desperate and ends up taking advice from a mobster.
Me and my associates will steal your car, and ipso facto, your insurance company will buy you another one.
Sounds like free money. It's such a great idea that it almost sounds illegal. Oh, it is illegal? Excuse me while I make a few calls. But Peter goes through with it and ends up getting the family a brand new car.
Look, Lois, we had a broken car, I did something, and now we have a new car.
Yeah, relax, Lois. By the way, if you guys wake up with a horse's head in your bed, just know that is totally unrelated to this.
Peter, it is time to repay your favor to the Don.
And what kind of request will the mob make of Peter? Extortion? Murder? 5-course Italian dinner?
Big Fat Paulie is in town this week to attend the wedding of my daughter.
Oh, God, and you want me to shoot him twice in the head?
No, but the Don wouldn't exactly be opposed to that either from the sounds of it.
No one has ever been able to stand Big Fat Paulie's company for more than a minute. But you, Mr. Griffin, you will take him to the movies.
It's a perfect setup. Take him to a place where you're supposed to be quiet and not talk. At least that's how I used to be. And it only takes a few minutes to understand that Paulie's reputation is right on the money.
Yeah, I'm Big Fat Paulie.
That's just a typical Italian greeting, or so my porgy neighbor tells me. And once it's over, Peter does his best to end the night immediately.
Where you going?
Home? You know, for dinner?
Oh yeah? What are we having?
A sandwich of the knuckle variety if Peter was brave enough. So now the Griffin household practically has 2 Peters to deal with, both gross and vile in their own unique way.
You have a pretty good appetite there, kid. I bet you spend a lot of time in the John.
I'm sorry, who's John and why is Chris spending so much time inside him? Anyway, Lois sees Paulie as a bad influence and pleads with Peter to kick him to the curb.
That man is bad news. I want him out of our house and out of our lives.
Whoa.
But there's one thing that Peter didn't account for. Mobsters are big, sensitive softies.
We can't be friends anymore.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Hey, forget about it.
Hey, don't blame Peter, blame Lois. If only there were a way to get her out of the way. Maybe a form of person removal that you can pay someone else to do so you don't have to do the hard stuff.
You thought I wanted you to whack Lois?
Guilty.
It's not too late to have the hit called off, is it?
Oh, sure, that's an easy fix. All it takes is one phone call while you're not filled with hundreds of bullet holes. A mobster shot down in the street? Such an uncommon death for their kind. Paulie was almost kind of like holding a mirror up to Peter so he can see himself how others do. Gross, obnoxious, and annoying. And while I don't think Peter learns anything about himself from his death, he at least learns that maybe bulletproof vests aren't the worst things to invest in. But Quagmire would accidentally invest in a marriage between him and an old escort named Charmese, driving him to try to convince her that he's gay and the giggity wife. So Peter and the guys decide to hit up Boston one weekend to get up to some drunken debauchery.
Hey, what do you say we get some shots?
Yeah, let's get wasted!
Mind you, these guys are over 40. Even just smelling a shot gets them way too drunk. So the guys literally tear up the town by getting wasted, borrowing sharks from aquariums, and even driving a pirate ship through the street. You know, the true Boston experience.
Oh man, what happened last night?
I can tell you what happened.
Whoa, where'd that talking piece of beef jerky come from? Well, that's Charmese, and she just so happens to be Quagmire's betrothed.
As of last night, we're man and wife. By the way, I need you to call my pimp and tell him I quit.
He won't be too happy about that, especially since it seems like you didn't even bother to invite him to the wedding.
I was obviously very, very drunk. This whole thing is a huge mistake. Now we gotta fix this right away.
What's the old saying? Till death do us part? She may look like a corpse, but you guys are far from the parting stage.
This is true love. Hey, what's our last name again?
So the obvious course of action sounds like it'd be divorce, right? Well, Joe doesn't see that working out well for Quagmire.
If you divorce her, she'll probably get everything you have.
See, they all called me crazy when I said I walk around with prenups in my pocket for this exact reason. Well, who's laughing now?
Guess I'm just gonna have to suck it up.
Let her suck it up. She's the expert. Sorry, keep going.
And at least try to make things work with Charmese.
So he tries to make the best of a bad situation, but there's just no domesticating this street cat.
I got knifed in the one Christmas.
Oh, the holidays are always stressful.
Yeah, but I don't think that particular action is something you hear about in the 12 Days of Christmas.
Let's do it.
What, you mean like sex?
Yeah, and we should go now. I just stuffed everything back into place.
As delightful as that all sounds, Quagmire isn't really looking to sample what Charmese is selling.
What are you, gay or something?
Excuse me?
You heard me. You some kind of mo?
He's not, but Quagmire would find a way to turn himself Chinese if it meant he could get out of this marriage.
Well, Charmese, I have something to tell you, and this isn't easy. But I'm gay.
Well, you're not the first guy to come out to your wife. Though you may be the first to do it with a lady of the night that you've only known for a night. Not content with living with someone who likes men, Charmese moves out, which means Quagmire is free to continue pursuing his hobbies and interests.
Hello, Internet.
But Charmese returns and catches him in the act. Being the genius that she is, she deduces that no gay man would watch a straight video, so if Quagmire wants this divorce, he'll need to prove it.
I want to see you get it on with a guy.
All right, Charmese. I'll do it.
Like I said before, you are not the first couple to make this plan either. So Quagmire goes to the only man he knows he can trust with this task.
I need you to have sex with me while she watches.
Did that question break Peter? Does he need to be rebooted?
I have some demands.
Peter's about to land himself free flights for the rest of his life. So this is why some people sleep around. There's so many perks. But when the moment of truth comes, it's about as passionate and erotic as you may expect.
Oh yeah, that was so hot.
And that was the relatively easy part. They might both spontaneously combust from what comes next.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Just do it.
Wait. Stop.
Thank you. I'm glad we got to avoid seeing two naked grown men cry. Charmese realizes just how much Quagmire wants the divorce, willing to go to insane lengths to get it.
I'll give you your divorce. You're off the hook.
All Charmese wanted was a nice life with a husband, and I hope she finds it one day. Old people definitely deserve that kind of happiness, even if they only get it when other people are drunk. But Franz Gutentag is an old guy not deserving of sympathy, as he harbors a dark secret that brings him to blows with Herbert and German guy. So Peter's trying to help Chris find a hobby when they get intercepted by Herbert.
Chris, don't waste our time with the elderly. They're dying.
Believe me, that couldn't come soon enough. Though he still has plenty to do before he leaves this mortal plane.
Please, God, let me just sniff his hat. Let me just sniff his hat.
Sure, what the heck. Herbert works so hard to get Chris, so I guess he's afforded one sniff as a treat.
Now I want more.
But eventually Chris stumbles across a wooden puppet store where he meets Franz Gutentag, the Germaniest German that ever Germaned.
I am Franz Gutentag, and this is my puppet shop.
Puppets, and I thought I'd seen everything.
Even if you haven't seen everything, puppets are kinda one of those things you'd be okay to skip seeing your entire life.
I feel like we could become good friends.
That sounds like fun!
Ah yes, the classic old man and teenage boy friendship. There's nothing sweeter and potentially legally questionable. Speaking of which, I'm sure there's somebody who isn't thrilled about this.
Oh, no!
But this isn't just a matter of a jealous ex looking to sabotage a new fling. Herbert actually goes to Peter and Lois with some startling news.
Chris is friends with a...
Look, you can't just go around calling people you don't like that. Unless they're always correcting your grammar. It's pronounced Jif, you bunch of... Nope, not gonna stoop that low.
That's a very serious accusation. How do you know this man was a Nazi prison guard?
'Cause I was there.
Yeah, so apparently Herbert served in the Air Force and was a prisoner of war under Franz, whose real name is Franz Schlechtnacht. Does being a war hero outweigh all the creepy stuff Herbert does now? Yeah, I didn't think so either.
I was spared death, but I was given hard labor. He made me sort the camp recyclables.
Well, glad they were being Earth-conscious while also being the worst humans alive. Herbert fails to convince them, so he tries to tell Chris.
Chris, his name isn't Gutentag, it's Schlechtnacht, and he's a...
But Chris sees right through Herbert. He knows why he has such a problem with him finding a new old friend.
I know what you're about, Mr. Herbert. Free labor, and I'm not into it!
Sure, we'll add free labor to the list too. Might as well call him out for everything, right? So Chris chooses Franz, and Peter drops by to thank him for being a friend to Chris. But when Chris goes to find the restroom, he learns of Franz's secret.
What the?
Well, I don't see a toilet in here, but I see plenty of stuff to wipe with.
So now you know the truth.
And to keep his secret safe, Franz decides to keep Chris and Peter locked in his basement. Let this be a lesson that if you're a kid befriending an older man, there's a high chance you end up in a basement at some point.
Jesse, what is it, boy? Chris!
So it looks like Herbert is the only one who can save Chris now. Not the police or anything. The only hope is an ancient guy in a bathrobe.
All my life I wanted to see you locked in a basement, but now that it's happened, all I want to do is get you out.
So Herbert suits up one last time and gets ready to go to war with Franz.
I'm here for the boy.
Now fasten your seatbelts and take your heart medication because what you're about to witness is an epic battle of monumental proportions. Look at them go. They'll get there eventually. While you're waiting, this would be a good time to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. But after what feels like 6 years and 1 day, Franz finally meets his end courtesy of a very low step. Just like how the Allies beat Germany all those years ago. Franz proved to be a memorable one-off villain that gave us a pretty fun Herbert episode, as well as a 4-minute long battle oozing with geriatric machismo. A hot take? It's good to see bad guys get what they deserve. And the Black Knight would also get what he deserved after bullying Peter out of the jousting profession in Mr. Saturday Night. So Peter's on the hunt for a new job after the toy factory because, well, he kinda killed his boss. R.I.P. Mr. Weed, we hardly knew ya. Mostly because I don't think people are watching as much of the old seasons as they should. So with no real direction in life, Peter decides to try his hand at any and all types of professions.
Hey, looking for a good time, sweet cheek?
Oh my god.
Well, you can never say he doesn't try to provide for his family. Gotta respect the hustle, just maybe not the method.
What do you want, a Cleveland steamer?
I said get in the car! What's a Cleveland steamer?
And you are free to Google that on your own time. Just probably don't do that at work or around people or with your eyes open. Fair warning, it is not Cleveland ironing a fresh pair of slacks, but unemployment is a great time to follow your dreams.
Well, I've saved some money from teaching piano, and I say this is the perfect time for you to pursue that dream.
Go ahead and guess what that dream could be. Really think about everything we know about Peter and then try to guess.
I'm gonna realize my dream. I am gonna be a Renaissance fair jouster.
It makes so much sense when you really think about it, right? Apparently it all stems back to when Peter was younger and in his hippy-dippy phase, which got him into a lot of trouble.
I can fly!
Oh my god!
Wow, a Black Knight who's actually helpful? Looks like we won't have to chop the limbs off of this one.
A word of advice. The path to knighthood is paved with strength and nobility, not LSD and sideburns.
That was actually 14 words, but thanks. And it's those words that stuck with Peter all his life and led him to become a knight himself.
Welcome, apprentices!
It's him!
But someone should have told Peter never to meet his heroes. Also, he probably should have picked a hero who wasn't a glorified carnival performer.
Look, I'm busy, all right?
Oh, okay, I'll come back later.
Damn rookies.
But things only get more tumultuous between the two of them when Peter starts flirting with the Black Knight's girl, Maid Madeline.
Wouldst thou take a gander underneath my frock?
Not sure why she needs a goose under her skirt, but Peter's happy to oblige. The Middle Ages were weird, man.
I don't like your face, and I don't like you hanging around my girl. I don't ever want to see you here again.
Man, leave it to a LARPer to take things way too seriously. So Peter gives up on becoming a knight, but apparently even being at the fair as a patron doesn't sit too well with the Black Knight.
Hey, we're just watching, all right? I don't want any trouble.
Oh, you got trouble if you don't beat it.
It's one thing to berate him in front of his family, but there's a certain line you don't cross, and the Black Knight is about to cross it.
You see that, kids? Your father's nothing but a fizzle.
Nobody calls me a fizzle and gets away with it.
Calling a man a fizzle is worse than slapping his wife and mother in one continuous swing. And the only way to settle this is by hitting each other with very long sticks.
To the owner of a yellow Hyundai, your car is being towed.
What?
Now he's been left dishonored, maidenless, and carless. He might as well throw himself into the hired maiden at this point. The Black Knight was a defining solo appearance for early Family Guy, not just because he was voiced by Will Ferrell, but also because he represents the corruption that those who undertake the Knight's Code let befall themselves. Or am I just reading too far into a Renaissance character again? Is there a one-off character we missed? Let us know your favorites down in the comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to help the Sweaty Clam channel grow.